I'm Lynn.
I'm Amanda.
And
this is The Pursuit of Badassery, the podcast.
We're cutting through the fluff and cracking open what it really takes to build a business and life that you actually want.
No gurus, no gatekeeping, just real talk, big action, and the badass energy you need to scale and slay.
Some episodes, it's just us.
And sometimes we bring on powerful guests with stories that'll hit home.
Either way, this is not about playing small.
It's about going all in.
Let's get after it. Hey, I'm Lynn.
And I'm Amanda. Welcome to The Pursuit of Badassery, the podcast. We are back for the end of season 3, and we're going to end with something that has come up recently with many of our calls, and that is looking ahead strategically in your business.
Yes. Remember, strategy, strategic, what does that mean? That you're looking ahead, that you're doing things for the bigger vision, for the bigger picture. And I really think a lot of it is a cycle of, because of the instant satisfaction and the gratification, as well as that people don't think big picture. They're only looking at the next step. They're only looking at fast and easy. And real entrepreneurship, real businesses aren't built sustainably on that. And so when we're not looking ahead and being strategic about the places that we want to go, the directions that we want to go, we're constantly in burnout. We're constantly in reactive mode. We're constantly in, it could even throw us into scarcity mode, because we might have the idea. And it's funny thinking about this. It's like, I'm thinking about the fractional COO work that I'm doing now. And it's like, my guys have the vision of what it could be, but they're actually missing like the here and the now. And that's what the asset that I bring to them. But if we're not looking strategically ahead, then we're just kind of aimlessly wondering and or being reactive all the time.
Yeah. And I love that you mentioned the burnout, because I think that a lot of people don't realize that that's one of the reasons why you're getting burnout. Because if you're constantly like, oh crap, next week is this, oh crap, next week is this, and oh, now it's International Donut Day and I should do something for that. Like all these little things are building. It's not just, you don't wake up and suddenly have burnout. It's something that is collectively approaching. It's that whole straw that broke the camel's back. That's absolutely what's happening. And when you're not strategically looking ahead, no wonder you're burnt out. No wonder you're exhausted every time Christmas comes around and you're like, oh my gosh, I have to put on Black Friday and I have this and there's a party. And if you had thought ahead, because those things come up every year. And I know it's just a marker that's an easy one to mark, for at least from a Western standpoint. Like those things are coming up every year. Black Friday comes up every year on the same relative week. Christmas comes the same time every year, these big markers. So if you have a sales cycle coming, if you have something that comes up every year, why wait to plan for it? I can hear some of you saying it, because I had a client who said it just recently. It's like, oh, well, what if something in the industry has changed by then? Or what if, so such and such product is this and I need to reorder? I'm like, okay, but I'm not telling you to plan 6 Christmases from now. I'm telling you to create a structure, create a plan, create a system around it that you can kind of plug and play some things, or you can create your entire marketing thing. It's much easier to slightly shift your, like, for example, if it's a product and you need to reorder inventory, that's much easier to shift that 2 months ahead than it is to shift 2 weeks ahead when you suddenly realize like that strategy can be adjusted, but it is much easier to adjust if you have a little bit of headway. I mean, not even to mention shipping things and products being made. I mean, depending on what kind of product or service you have, you need lead time. It takes longer now than it did 5 years ago. So the lead time needs to be greater. And I think it's not funny, haha, but it is funny, interesting to hear people say like, I can't be thinking that far ahead. And like, you should be thinking that far ahead. You should be 6 months. And it's a CEO mindset. We talked about CEO mindset before, but living in this is what I have to do next week is I have a job and not I have a business to run. I'm the CEO of my company. So 100%. It's a mindset shift just as much as it's a strategy shift.
Yeah. There's so many nuggets in there. I feel like I'm screaming inside with. And actually one conversation I just had, but this one phrase won't get out of my mind. And we used to use this all the time in long workshop that we do, but vision without action is just a dream or a daydream. And so you want the strategy, or like not the strategy, but the vision, right? The forward. I want to be a cajillionaire. Okay, well, what are all the ways that you can get there, right? Because otherwise you're just trying on a bunch of things and nothing's sticking. But you were talking about the prepping, the pivoting, the understanding. First of all, the lead time. If you have a stable foundation and you know where you're going and the actions or SOPs, processes, the everydays, that you are already doing, it gives you a stronger footing to be able to make changes because you have the ability to see the future versus the unstable ground when you're just grasping at straws. So that's step number one. Step number two is the just in clause. I love Justin, just in case something happens. So you can do this using data. You can use this, like just have a plan B or plan C or a pivot plan, if you would, as much as we hate that word after COVID. We can't project everything that's going to happen, but we can kind of set ourselves up to say, oof, these are the way the industry is going, or this is the way, elections are coming up, this is happening, whatever, da, da, da. So having that just in clause. But in order to have that just in clause, you have to know where you're going. You have to know your everyday actions in order to get there, because otherwise it makes no sense. And it just gives you the ability to have what we would call a go bag, right? So a go bag in regular living is a bag with your precious documents in it, especially when you live in a volatile kind of area. Even people here have it. When that earthquake happened in Bangkok, a lot of people had their go bag, but your important documents of this, of that, but that would be kind of your go bag for your business. I want to share something. Been having a lot of conversations on the fractional CEO side about projections, create a projection for this startup that I'm fractional CEO for. Last night, I had a call with potential partners in the US and I asked them, okay, you want to take us to market? These are all the things. What are your projections? And they're very scientific. And so I know I put them in a corner, but I was like, I need to know kind of like what your vision is. It's not hard numbers. It's the idea of, and then we make the adjustments as we go, but it gives us markers to shoot towards versus just shooting right in front of us. And so having discussions around that, and I can remember doing this decades ago with like my security company and different things like that when I was working with the Small Business Development Center, and they really like helped me understand that those projections help us be more strategic. It's not a do or die, but it gives us the ability to have some checks and balances.
Absolutely. I mean, when you think about, you made the analogy of people wanting to make $1 kajillion, but it's much easier to make money if you have a number in sight. So right. Just saying kajillion is too broad. And there's no marker to see if they're improving at all. So it needs to be a bit more finite. You need to have something, because even if you don't make it, at least you're closer to making something that you're wanting to make than just being like, oh, well, I guess I didn't make $1 kajillion this month. Okay, well, but you did make 5, or you did make 10,000, or whatever it is. Those benchmarkers are part of that strategy. And that strategy has to be months in advance. It can't be, I want to make $1 kajillion next week, unless you have like a really awesome lottery strategy. That's not going to happen.
Tell us about it.
I know. Tell us about it, dude. Don't gatekeep.
We'll give you a percent.
Split.
Yeah.
We're honest. We're generous.
For real.
So if it's not that scenario, which it probably isn't, you have to have some strategy involved. And I know it's not sexy to be like, oh, 6 months from now, I'm going to hold this deal or that deal, but the results are sexy. Okay. So it might not be sexy to sit down and plan out your calendar, but if you're looking for big results, you're looking for big changes in your business, which if you're listening to this podcast, you probably are. You have big dreams, you have big goals. That comes with more strategy and a bit more just farsighted. You got to look further into the future than you think. And, listen, just because I have something on the calendar right now, as we're recording this podcast, it is July. I had to think about that real hard. I'm like, what month is it?
I forgot what month it was too. After all those hotels and airline bookings that we just did.
Anyway. Yeah. So I'm already looking well into April and May of next year. Now, we might get to April next year and those things that I had on the calendar had to shift. But if I don't put things on there and have that intention to get to that place, then it's going to be one of those someday scenarios that literally never happens. Yeah. Like someday I'll do this. Someday we'll write our next books. And then it becomes never. We want to avoid those someday scenarios that turn into never. And this is how you do it. You look ahead, you plan ahead. And if it doesn't work out the exact way you wanted, well, great. That's life. Pivot, adjust, make new benchmarkers, make adjustments. But again, you're not going to have anything to adjust if you don't make a plan at all.
Well, and you should have some foresight if things are happening or like learn from it. But also, we're not saying don't scrap it. And we'll talk about this in other podcasts. I know we have, is like, then you put in the action, you reverse engineer it, you figure out how to get to that place, right? So this is where the strategy is, mapping it out and putting into action what that is. But you can always make changes. I mean, shoot, I just did a couple of posts about things that we took off of our schedule because it just didn't align anymore. And it's okay. We didn't have the capacity. When we're being strategic, there is obviously data involved, and data can mean a million different things. To an examiner, it's going to mean numbers and different things like that, and like statistics and blah, blah, blah. And to go-getters or the other side, maybe not as much. But data is data. So it could be industry trends. It could be how your business has been doing. It could be the numbers that you have right now compared to the amount of work hours or like man hours that you're putting in, et cetera, et cetera. So data is important, but also with strategy or looking into the future, there's a bit of intuition, a bit of gut instinct, a bit of chance as well. And I feel like that's also grounded in your purpose, grounded in your why. The more you can be grounded in that to be able to accomplish that end goal, you're going to have more drive to do the things that need to be done, to sacrifice where you need to sacrifice in order to gain where you're going to gain. And so all of those are enveloped in being strategically thinking towards the future. I can remember actually having discussions, it bit me in the ass, raising my kids and always telling them, you could do anything you want, and having them read The Secret. And then the second I would be like, do you really think that's possible? Mom, you trying to tell me I can't do after you made me watch all of that shit? That's all I'm saying. Like, you can get places, but you have to put in the work. And there's other things. It's not just work. There are other things combined with that, but we're just giving you the one aspect of the be strategic when you're looking into the future. And this will help your business actually even grow and scale, because otherwise it will die.
Absolutely. And there's risk involved. Like, welcome to entrepreneurship. There's risk. There's things that aren't going to work out. Yeah, you did this to yourself. Don't forget that. Okay. Yeah. You complain about all the things that go wrong. Remember, a lot of these new problems that you're facing are new, awesome problems. You get to have these new problems because the old problems are gone. You're done with those ones. So there's going to be risk. There's going to be change. There's going to be things that aren't going to work the way you want them to work. That's kind of like the joy of this, or one of the joys, if you think of it that way anyway. But you need the strategy behind it. That's overall what we want it to really impart on you, is that there's nothing wrong with looking ahead. There's nothing wrong with making a plan and then having it fall through. We don't want that to be status quo, where you make a plan that's too grandiose, you have no strategy behind it, and then it never works out, and then you're like, woe is me. We're not looking to sit in victim mode around that. However, you've got to put big things on the calendar. You've got to realign and shift. And as Lynn mentioned, there are some things that we took off our schedule, not because we didn't want to do them. Like, we wanted to do these things, and it wasn't aligning with where we were in the business and other things that had come up and new developments and new opportunities. Because as you are getting more strategic and as you are growing and scaling, new things will come up that you have to shift for. Like, opportunities are opportunities, and they aren't always convenient. And they don't always fit this grand scheme plan that you had in mind. For good sure. You go with it. That's the glory of where we are, not just us, but the day and age and in entrepreneurship in general. So yeah, it's a good thing to look ahead.
Yeah. Looking ahead strategically. I think it's not even a good thing. It's a must.
It's a must.
It's a must, especially nowadays where you get canceled. Different things happen all the time. Like, it's important to be looking at a bigger picture, even if it's not just siloed into the current business that you have. Like, what are all the opportunities? Because then if something hits you, you're able to pivot so much easier.
And what I mean by good thing is, like, yes, it is a must, but also, like, for those of you who are sitting in this feeling like it's daunting, like, oh my gosh, I have to think so far ahead. I already have to plan. I should already be in my Christmas special. It's July. Like, it's not daunting. It's not scary. It's privileged to get to think that your business is still going to be a business in 6 months, like that you're planning ahead. So these are good problems to have. So it's more of a mindset shift on, this is strategy. That's a necessary thing. It is a good thing to have this strategy. It's not a daunting, scary, oh my gosh, I have to sit down and look at my future for 6 months from now. Like, we're not saying you have to have a 5-year plan. I mean, that'd be awesome for the next 5 years. But other than that, we're not saying you have to plan out every little thing. It's just have some strategy behind what your big goals are. But otherwise, literally never going to happen. That's someday.
They're just daydreams.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're just daydreams, which sucks. We will self-admit there are things that we put in our calendar, but we actually didn't put in the action steps. We reverse engineer it, but we kind of fell short in our day-to-day because we were spreading ourselves too thin, or whatever the case is. So even those of us that teach it, like, things are going to go wrong and going to go sideways. It's kind of how you move from that. But at the end of the day, we wouldn't be where we are if we weren't thinking strategically, if we weren't looking at the bigger picture and kind of where we can go and then putting in the daily action. So this is your sign to look ahead strategically.
Look ahead strategically, find the strategy, do the thing, put in the work. Most importantly, in some ways, fix your face, fix your mindset around this.
Fix your face.
These are good things. These are good problems to have. Thinking ahead for a business that's going to be going somewhere in 6 months or a year, that's a good problem to have. Yeah. Think of all the people who never made it past their first year or their first 5 years. So these are good problems to have.
Absolutely. I love it.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. If you know somebody who is sort of doing the day-by-day thing, super stressed out, burned out in their business, they may need this lesson more than they even realize. So make sure you are sending it their way, spreading the word, sharing the podcast, because we want to see everyone grow and scale their business.
Absolutely. Get into that strategy. Just get into it. All right. Till next time.
Get after it. I almost said get her done. I forgot our own tagline.
Get her done.
I forgot what we trademarked.
Thanks for tuning in. But remember, listening is not doing.
Take what you heard today and move.
Share the episode, leave us a review, and tag us when you take action.
Head over to thepursuitofbadassery.com and see how we're helping entrepreneurs get results without the fluff.
Until next time,
let's get after it.